So about this time, once again, we took a break from this campaign and had a couple one-shots with the guys from before that were my other group. We had one shot that lasted 2 sessions, but a lot of time in between because of life. And this was supposed to be like in the past episode of kind of showing what the world was about and how to explore this. It was pretty much that it was like 500 years previous that a war between the orcs and all the orc area, they were gathering up and setting out to fight. Mostly like the human nation and the elf nation was fighting in. That's why after this battle, the captured land from the orcs would have been given to the elves and kind of made their area bigger and what it was in the normal campaign. So I had every player do a soldier in this. I don't think they really liked that, but then we also kind of randomized their class. They probably didn't like that either, but the only one that didn't have a soldier was the person who plays Gil in this campaign, because he was my other DM and I know he's smart and can come up with stuff. So I gave him a special mission of one of Thea's older brother, not quite as old as Del, but like a third in line for the throne or something like that, and would have been around during that 500 years. Pretty much telling him he's gonna die, and that would be like a reason why the Elven King is a little bit more protective, why the Queen is also that way of kind of going, they don't want Thea to be an adventurer, they've lost a son that way, and stuff like that. I ended up using a map of Cragmaw Castle as kind of where they were going to go, and it wasn't that well done of one shot on my part. I just kind of had them find a leader that have them be soldiers, getting called in by a general to say, things are going down here, we don't know what they are, we need you to stop them because we've had seers tell us that in a few days things are either stopped there or the orcs win. And I had this as a way that why the orcs were gathering up was, even though they had like different tribes in the area, was that some of the orc tribes knew ritual to create Tenuruk, which are demon orcs. And I had that so that way they were on the way there. The party found that several pregnant orcs were getting shipped off with some guards to that castle, and they were going to have the ritual happen so that way their unborn children would have become Tenuruks, and this would have cemented into the fact that the orcs are trusting each other and believe in each other because now they have a cause to be together, and then that made it so that would make it so that way there wouldn't be as much infighting amongst the orcs, and then they'd have stronger warriors, the Tenuruk. They also had, so by the time the party actually got there, which ended up being the 2 sessions, they did find that there was already an adult Tenuruk caged up, And due to the fact that this took 2 sessions, it gave me the idea to give the Eye of Grumsh orc that was in charge of doing the ritual, instead of just having him be an Eye of Grumsh, I would give him the Eye of Vecna. That led to a bit of metagaming, but it kind of worked out. So that way it would have been a little bit tougher, and would have made it so that way the party would die, or at least the one party member that I wanted them to die, in order to set up the story. But it led to a lot of interesting stuff. The Tenuruk that was adult was in a cage, and as the Eye of Grumsh was performing this ritual, that was when the party came in and took out the Eye of Grumsh, and I think they killed the other orcs, even the pregnant ones, because they figured out the ritual. They rolled Arcana and figured out it, and then one of the orcs was going to open up the cage to set out the Tenuruk to kill the party. They were able to stop that and keep the Tenuruk in a cage. The player who played Gil, but is the prince in this one, I think he also had a bird or something as a companion, but he was able to grab the key to the cage of the Tenuruk and send it with a quick letter out to his parents, which would be the Elven King, and would have told them where they are and what's going on and about the Tenuruk, thus keeping it in the cage, which was magical to, stuff like that. It was a little weird, but so that was a great thing that would have happened. As we went through, and almost all of them died. A few of them, one actual player made it out. The player that plays Xantra in my normal one that doesn't show up a lot was there for the first half and was an NPC for the second half. He got away because they also sent him out. So 2 of the 5 of them succeeded and lived. So after that, I said that in the town close by that they went to before they got to the orc territory and to the Cragmaw Castle, they'd built a statue of the brave heroes that fought in that battle of the turning point in the Orc War. So if Thea would have ever gone that direction, she would have found that, saw her brother and the friends and stuff like that, and would have been a nice kind of key back to that. But one of the interesting things that Gil's player did near the end, when we were kind of wrapping up and they knew they were going to die, he said that he would have taken the Eye of Vecna and used it on himself, and that, so kind of we said that after the session when we were kind of wrapping up, of kind of going, all right, there's no way you're going to live. It's just you 2, and there's a bunch of orcs behind a door. The door's going to break. You guys don't have enough. And this was right when he was sending off the letter to his family with the key. And it's kind of going, you have just enough time for that to happen without doing it. You're pretty much dead, we'll call it there. And that's, and then after the session, he goes to me, what my player might do is take out his own eye and place the Eye of Vecna there. And it's just going, interesting. Because it made sense to me of kind of going, if he gave himself into the Eye of Vecna, then he would have been an NPC, like it says in the stat block, where I could have given him more power than just the Eye of Vecna would do to a normal player. be able to kill all the orcs and manage to survive all this, but still be the dead prince. So I was going to have him be taken over by Vecna, and in Thea's normal campaign, I would have had him be the one pulling the strings on her evil sister, and have him be like working in a hidden basement layer of the castle, as a, good guy gone mad by the eye of Vecna, and would have had him be like a hidden big bad evil guy, because we came up with that, if the Thea's campaign continued. And just that worked out perfectly, where the steward that he had that was blocking the door in order for him to write down the letter would have probably died first, and given him just enough time to do something like that. And then when the players that survived would have come back with an army to get revenge on their friends that died, they'd, march on the castle, find it empty, even find the Ten Orc dead in its cage, and wonder what happened. So it was a learning experience for me. I definitely learned a lot there, and hopefully I've improved, and hopefully we'll never make those mistakes again. And hopefully the players that listened to, that were in that will cut me a little bit of slack when I was new and figuring out what to do, and yeah.